Opening the leg channels. In order to be grounded and to get our energy from the earth, we need to open the channels of the legs, which you can think of as the roots of the name of this chakra, Muladhara, which means root support. And as we plug into the earth or plug into any form of resistance, because we can't push through that resistance, it builds up energy in the body. Supercharging all your chakras begins with plugging into the earth. So this exercise uses a strap, but if you don't have a yoga strap, you could use a belt, you could use a scarf, you could use a towel. And Sarah is going to unroll the strap and bring her right knee into her chest. And just warm up by pulling the knee deeply in, rotating the ankle, and breathing deeply. And while you do this, it's good to take your tailbone down toward the floor. Anchor the shoulders down into the floor. And then she's going to take the strap over her foot and take her foot up into the air and place the foot directly over the hip. It's nice to open the foot chakras by going back and forth with the strap from heel to toe, creating some friction. Notice where you feel the most energy in your foot, and then settle the strap over your arch, holding one end of it in each hand. Keeping your foot directly over your hip, inhale and bend your knee, keeping your foot parallel to the ceiling. And then, using some resistance with your hands on the strap, push your foot up against it. Be careful not to lock your knee, but stop short of fully extending your knee. And repeat. Inhale and bend. Exhale and push into the resistance of the strap. Now, how much resistance do you give? You give enough that your leg muscles have to really work at it, but not so much that your leg can't move. So if you're holding it back too much, it can't extend itself. We want to go to what I say about 90% extension, because when you lock your knee, you shut off all the charge we're trying to build up. And if you notice, there's a subtle trembling beginning in Sarah's leg as she comes up. Allow that trembling to occur, and it'll become involuntary motions, and the longer you do this exercise, the bigger the trembles become. And your leg is getting charged. When you get a good amount of shaking going, find the place between extended leg and bent knee that gives you the most trembling. And let it rip. And then slowly extend your right foot down to the floor, keeping a little bit of tension on the strap. Repeat on the other side. So begin by just taking the knee into the chest. We'll do the left side now, rotating the ankle, spreading the toes, taking a deep breath. And while you're doing this, try to take the tippy tip of your tailbone down toward the floor and your shoulders down to the floor, anchoring everything downward into the earth. And then when the ankle is warmed up, place the strap on the bottom of the foot and take your foot up into the air directly over your hip. Take the strap back and forth from heel to toe, warming up your foot chakras. And settle the strap over your arch, holding it with 2 hands. Softly bend the knee. And as you inhale, bend the knee deeper, keeping your foot high. And as you exhale, push into the resistance of the strap. Enough resistance that your leg has to work at it, and not so much that it can't extend to about 90% extension. Be careful not to straighten your knee all the way, because again, that shuts off the charge we are trying to build. And find the place where you get the most trembling as you go up and down. And let that happen. Let yourself surrender to those involuntary movements caused by energy coursing through your leg. You inhale as you bend, you exhale as you extend. And when you feel like you've got a really good charge in your leg, you can slowly bring your left leg down to the floor. Now, Sarah has done these exercises before, and when your leg channels are open, you bring in the charge more easily. But if you're doing this for the first time, or you may have more blocks in your legs, it might take you longer to get that trembling, and it might take some experimentation. So if you don't feel it yet, just continue pushing into the resistance of the strap until you can find at least a subtle trembling. And allow yourself to surrender to that trembling, to let it happen, to let the energy move through your legs. Standing bioenergetic grounding. This is something you can do anytime you find yourself standing around. You're standing in line at the grocery store, and the person in front of you has too many groceries. You can practice your grounding. If you're on the phone, if you're waiting in line or pumping gas into your car, anytime you're standing, you can start to pump energy into your legs by pushing into the earth. And here's how. So Sarah, place your feet at least shoulder width apart. And I find most people err on the side of having their feet too narrow, which creates a narrow base. And bring your heels out a little wider than your toes. We don't want to scatter the grounding, we want to focus it. And keeping your shoulders directly over your hips, you can even put your hands on your hips. You're going to inhale and bend your knees, keeping your shoulders over your hips. And as you exhale, press down and out with your feet, not actually moving them and not coming to a locked knee. And then when you're up, inhale, bend again. Deep breath in and deep breath out as you push through the core of each leg. And that resistance you create with your feet by pushing into the floor and a little bit out in the mat is what gets the trembling going through your legs. You want to find that place where you're really pushing through the core of the legs. Allow the trembling to occur, that is new energy coming in. Now, one way you can think of this is that as you inhale and bend, you are taking earth energy up your legs into your first chakra. And as you push down into the floor, you are extending roots down into the earth. So I think of the inhale as the feminine, the roots pull up the nourishment from the earth. And the exhale as masculine. The masculine roots have to penetrate the earth. And of course, we need both aspects, regardless of whether we're male or female. And if you can allow that energy to move into the legs, find the place between up and down where you get the most trembling, and just hang out there and let the trembling happen. That is new energy coming into your legs in your first chakra. Now, there is one more thing I like to do here. I like to work with the phrase, I am in here, because the first chakra is about being in your body. So Sarah, as you exhale and extend your legs, can you say, perhaps 4 times with an accent on each word, I am in here, I am in here.
I am in here. I am in here.
If you feel like your legs are getting overcharged or your body's having trouble accepting the charge, you can always do a little discharging by just stamping your feet into the ground. So the next exercise you can also do anytime you find yourself standing around, although you might look a little silly. But this is from the yoga tradition. It's called chair pose. So Sarah, if you could just find your ground, press down and out into your feet, and very slowly bend your knees, bringing your tailbone toward your back, and see if you can feel when the tailbone starts to get activated. Press down and out with your feet. And find that place and just hold that, and from the earth, lift your arms and push from your feet up into your fingertips. This helps to create strength in the legs. It helps to create strength in the core and energizes the legs. And when you're ready to come out, simply push through the core of each leg very slowly. Come back up to a standing position. And bring your arms down by your side. Take a deep breath. This next exercise involves a partner, and I call it earth skiing. Not because we're skiing on snow, but it's like water skiing, where when you get pulled up by the boat, you have to keep your feet out in front of you or you're going to fall over. We're doing the same thing, only we're doing it on the ground. So reach across to your partner and you're going to grab wrist to wrist, right arm to right arm, left arm to left arm. And hold on tight. And we want to grab the wrists because the hands can get slippery and I don't want anyone to fall, so that's important. Then press your feet into the ground with your feet at least shoulder width apart. And in order to keep from getting pulled over, both people have to press their feet into the ground evenly. And bend your knees as if you were sitting in a chair, but don't take your hips lower than your knees. And just increase the energy between you by pressing your feet more firmly into the floor. Once you feel like you have a good charge in your legs, keep that charge as you slowly come back up to standing and place your first chakra again over the space between your feet. So this exercise is nice to begin with. It's also nice to end with. It can be used for relaxation and it can be used for energizing your first chakra, depending on what you do. Sit sideways to a wall with a mat laid out for you to lie on, or a blanket or a towel. And with your knees bent, slowly turn toward the floor and move your seat up against the wall. Roll onto your back and bring your legs up the wall. Now, if your hamstrings are really tight, you may not be able to get your legs at a right angle. That's okay. Just move your seat back. And if you can, move your seat right up against the wall so your legs are at a right angle to your body. Place your palms to your side, palms up, and just take a few breaths. And allow your legs to relax, adjusting as necessary. This is a very nice way to end a set of first chakra exercises. But if you want to begin with them and energize your legs, there's a very subtle movement you can do inside, and that is to extend the tip of your tailbone down toward the floor and actively press your legs against the wall. And you will feel that beginning to energize your legs. Now, if you want to take that energy into the rest of your body, bend your knees, place your feet hip-width apart on the wall, press into the wall, and slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, lift your hips up off the floor, never doing anything that's uncomfortable for you. You might adjust your feet as necessary, and then slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, come back down. Allow your legs to go straight up the wall again, and relax. This is a very restorative pose, and it helps to gather energy into your first chakra.